We do know, if we monitor for these indicator parameters, we do know that we're within safe limits.
For the things that you measure
For all products of incomplete combustion.
I would like to see the basis for that statement because I don't believe it.
I'll be glad to send the information to you.
John, you're going to have to forgive me. I've got one other question. Do any of you folks sleep good at night?
That's because your kids aren't living by it.
Please identify yourself, ma'am.
I'm Becky Boyd.
Speak louder.
I'm Becky Boyd. I live here in town. First question, the lady with the green jacket on her chair. I assume you're opposed to the incinerator with your green on.
Pull the mic down towards your face.
Okay, can you hear now? I have for many years I have been opposed to the generation of hazardous waste, and I have not been very happy about what North Carolina has done in response to that generation. But I am also a law-abiding person.
Quit your job!
Quiet, please.
I could very well not be here happily, and maybe that's the thing, but I have been persuaded that my presence here may be of some help to those who do.
Quiet. Did you have another question, Becky?
Yes. Am I correct in assuming that Thermochem is the company that will operate the incinerator here?
We have been entered into a contract with the state to design, permit, and operate. That is correct.
Are you the same company that operated the one in Caldwell County?
We have no association with the unit that was at Caldwell County, not at all.
Okay, Hazardous Commission, I have a question. I sent in some questions last time you were here and I have not heard a word. Where are my answers?
What was the question?
I had 3 pages of questions. I have not heard an answer. One question was, is there going to be an on-site monitor at the incinerator?
I'm sorry, ma'am. Did you? Who did you give that list of questions?
I mailed it to your address in Raleigh to Dr. Turner. Isn't that you?
That's me.
Okay. I talked to his secretary and she gave me your address. I called on the phone. It's 3 pages of questions.
The commission office, the Hazardous Waste Management Office, is in Raleigh, and I am the chairman, and if you address the questions there, I should have received them. They, as far as I can tell from the people who are on the stage, they did not get those questions, and if you have a copy, we'll be glad to respond.
I do have a copy.
Thank you.
I talked with your secretary, Finks, is that her name?
Trinks, Cindy Trinks.
Trinks, okay, that's who I talked with. She gave me your address and I mailed them to your attention 3 weeks ago.
Was it Raleigh? To the Raleigh office?
Yes, P.O. Box in Raleigh.
I'm sorry, I have not seen them, and I will ask Cindy when I've been back.
Do you have any other questions?
Yes.
Quiet, please.
Did you answer my question? Will there be an on-site monitor?
Will there be on-site monitoring?
Right.
Why don't we refer that question to Thermochem since they'll be designing?
Okay.
There will be several on-site monitors surrounding the facility, in addition to monitors in the stack. And these monitors will be computer linked to the state agency so they can monitor also the information.
Money monitors.
do we have to, what permits do you have to get in order to operate this incinerator?
We have to get a RECRA permit
What is
with the
that?
through the state. It's a hazardous waste permit to operate the incinerator. In addition, we have to have storage permits through the state, as well as air permits through the state.
Are all of these issued by the state then?
Yes, because the state is said to have a primary authorization for the program. EPA will also be reviewing these permit applications, to make sure all the required information is submitted.
How many permits do you have to get to operate?
We have to get a incineration permit, storage permit, a landfill permit, and then the air permit. So that's 4 operating permits.
I understood there would be more permits, something like 12, from previous information.
Let me see if I can add to your question that you are directing to. You may have heard us say that there might be as many as 12 permits that are involved in the process. What Mr. Ziegler has just mentioned, or what's called the big permits that are required. In addition to that, in North Carolina, there is what's called an air toxics permit as a result of the recent air toxics regulation. There is also a sedimentation and erosion control permit based on if you have to move so much dirt. There is a mining safety requirement or permit that is required there. In addition, there are building permits, there is other health-related permits, and the total of those may be as many as 12 to 15 total permits.
Who can revoke a permit? Who can revoke a permit?
The agency that gives the permit can also take that permit back. And so it would depend on which agency had issued it as to who would be able to revoke the specific permit.
Does the county of Granville County, North Carolina, issue any permit? Will they issue anything?
I'm not certain that there is a permit system here in Granville County. And as I understand, there would not be a local permit, although there might be local building permits and other things that are normally issued when you build any other project in any county.
Can Granville County, would Granville County have any way of getting a permit revoked?
If Granville County found that there was some violation of that permit that had been issued by the state, Granville County's responsibility would be to go back to the state and to make the state aware that that permit was being violated, and the state would then have the authority to revoke that permit.
How many permits would have to be revoked for this plant to close down? Can one permit being revoked close it down?
Yes, because all the permits are integral. That means that they're all required, and without any of the permits, you can't operate the facility.
Thank you, Becky. Becky, do you mind passing it on?
Okay.
Thank you.
One other thing. Why did all these problems happen in Caldwell County and nothing was done for so long? And why is that water contaminated now?
Let me see if I can answer part of the problem. I'm not sure about the contaminated water supply.
I read that in an article.
Well, let me tell you what I know about, and I'll be happy to get some additional information related to this. I know that just recently there has been a request that the people who were involved with regulating, controlling, and monitoring the facility in Caldwell County, and that is the air quality folks, the water quality folks, and the hazardous waste folks, were all required to respond to a question as to what happened in Caldwell County. I know that the state had epidemiologists, people who are specialists in the determination of disease, to pull together information. It shouldn't be but just a few more days that you should have, if you're interested, a very comprehensive report on Caldwell systems. But let me go back and answer your specific question that you asked. Caldwell systems existed prior to 1981. The hazardous waste regulations did not come into effect until 1981. All systems that were in place prior to 1981 were grandfathered into the system. When they were grandfathered into the system, the federal government said they are not required to meet all of the regulations until November 7th of 1988. So there was a grace period established that any existing facilities would have 7 years in order to make their facility come up to standard. In that period of time, the state or no one else had the authority to shut down that facility because it didn't operate under the regulations that exist today. Now, we can go on and discuss this at length, but I think maybe what you're interested in is this summary of data that's being prepared right now, not by us, but by other agencies within the state, and as I understand, it's being prepared for the General Assembly. So there might be some interesting information for you. That's basically why our Caldwell system was allowed to operate without all of the control mechanisms. For example, Caldwell systems never operated with a scrubber. It wasn't required to have one. It didn't have one because it was grandfathered into the system. As a result, when you look at Caldwell systems compared to the incinerator that Thermal Chem is going to be building for North Carolina, it's like comparing a Model T to a present-day automobile.
Thank you, Becky. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask my site review committee wants to ask some questions. I'm going to pass the mic to them. Please identify yourself and ask your question.
First, I would really like you to listen to what I have to say, because I am here representing you, the public. I am a volunteer for you. I will fight all the way to the White House, and I cannot be fired because I don't get paid. The second thing I want to tell you is that I truly believe that all of your questions from this point on should be directed to Thermochem only. These are the people who hold your future in their hands. So you need to direct your questions to them, please. I would like to ask Thermochem personally, what kind of compensation, insurance, however you want to call it, do you have in effect to help my friends and neighbors in Granville County who live in homes, who are in institutions, who may have stress-related health problems? As we can see, there are a lot of you people that are already stressed out tonight. First of all, I would like to say that we're asking Thermochem if they have any kind of insurance, if they're going to do any health testing, and just where we stand as far as the health category and our mental capacity is concerned.
Well, we are only assisting the state in the siting processes. It's not our primary job to select the site. Our job is permitting, construction, design, and operation. We do currently full health surveys of our employees annually. We have volunteered to work with the state in doing more than that at this location, wherever it might be, to help accumulate a baseline of information to try to answer some of these questions in regards to the issues you're talking about this evening.
First of all, he did not answer the question.
Well, which specific? I can tell you that we have, we can look at the numbers, all the required, and well in excess of the required federal standards for liability insurance. I think the minimums are 1 and 3, where we've proposed 10 and 20 millions of dollars. In regards to psychological issues, I don't know how to begin to approach that. I am not a medical doctor.
You better get prepared. First of all, first he still didn't answer the question, and second of all, I'm asking you, who do you think is going to pay the bill for health-related issues from this hazardous waste incinerator, landfill, whatever?
I can tell you that there has never been a claim against our Rock Hill facility in its entire history for any health-related issue, either by an employee or a citizen. That's been an 8-year period. No claims.
Thank you. First of all, you've never had a hazardous waste incinerator or landfill in Granville County. The second question that I would like to ask is, I would like for you to tell the people what you told us this afternoon in a session. How many times a year will you monitor the emissions that come from the stack from your hazardous waste incinerator?
We monitor the emissions, total emissions, constantly, and we'll look to you to help us make that decision. If you feel that we should do it more frequently, we have instrumentation which reads on a continuous 24-hour basis. I think you're referring to the question about metals, if I'm not leading you with that.
Yes, I am.
Metals we are required to, and I hand this to Bill Ziegler, we're required to do it at least annually. We choose to do it more frequently than that. And here again, would be willing to talk with whatever community is selected to reach a standard that you feel comfortable with.
Well, may I respond to that? I would like to say, as your servant, I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't want you here, and they don't want you here.
Excuse me, people have something to say real important right now. Okay. We've heard a lot from you, Thermal Chem, and we've read a lot, and we're not stupid, and we're very educated people. And we've drawn our line, and this green ribbon represents Granville County, and we just want you to know one thing. You ain't coming to Granville County ever! North Carolina!
Ladies and gentlemen, these people don't have a home. They've been run out of every state and every country in the world.
Put it back at the podium, please.
Is only 600 feet from a federally designated flood hazard zone. We have core studies that show a 100-year base flood within 400 feet of the site and a 500-year base flood within 300 feet of the site. We are using core maps that were done for the county in 1989.
We have no specific knowledge of this site other than the map information that was given to ourselves as well as several other potential operators for the state. We made our opinions known at that time. I believe we recommended that there were 6 or 7 locations that were suitable. We have done no work since that time.
So you've actually, hold on, if y'all would please, you've actually done no site work at all. So you really don't even know if the site is suitable or not for the type of operation you intend to locate here.
That's correct. It is the state's job.
So you really, in all intent and purpose, wouldn't you think that you'd be shooting in the dark a little bit if you didn't have quantitative facts to back up site selection?
At the appropriate time, we will become involved in that. At this point, we have not been, and that has not been our responsibility.
Maybe I should respond to that, being the chairman of the commission. The commission was responsible for the siting, and the commission has done all that it can.
Y'all be quiet, please.
the commission has done all that it can in terms of the geology and the hydrology of the site until we are able to do some drilling on the site. And that's what's holding up the process.
So if I can follow that up, then neither Thermal Chem nor the state Hazardous Waste Management Commission has done any testing at all. You don't even know what you have out there. You just picked the site. Is that correct?
No, we didn't just pick a site and
let me then move on to another question. I see in your pamphlet that, by the way, is very, very professional. It must have cost the state some big bucks to have this prepared, particularly in light of the budget deficit. You've got
Sir,
this site.
wait, may I interrupt for a minute? The state did not pay a penny for those.
Stand corrected. You've got, y'all hold on a minute, please. You've got this site identified as being fairly well landscaped and a fairly compact site. I'd like to ask Thermochem, do you plan any future expansion of that site? In other words, you're going to be processing around 60,000 tons of waste a year. Are you going to be requesting an additional permit from the state in the future to enlarge on that site and to build a much bigger site?
We have no plans to do that. Our plans are to do what the state has asked us to do, which is 15,000 tons a year of solvent recovery, 40,000 tons of incineration of byproducts, and 10,000 tons of treatments, incineration of soils.
Sir, I saw from your representative a map today that showed the proposed site, and then it showed potential additional areas double the size of the existing site. I'd like very much to have an explanation. I'd like to know why we're dealing with half-truths.
Well, I'm not familiar with what you're talking about. If we...
Ask him. Perhaps he can address it. There's a map that was shown to me today for the first time, Mr. Anna,
John, let me see if I
showing
can...
a double the size site of the one you initially proposed. Now, when are we